but it's a very traditional style. So almost from the first day, it was like, Stephen, here are some sentences, and multiple choice, ABC. Which is the word with the right ending? And I remember saying to her, "Well, what do you mean?" And she went, just it's grammar. You need to choose which is the right word for the grammar. And I still don't know what you mean. And she said, "Well, cases, cases." I said, "What's a case?" And then she said to me, and then I said,
"I can't help you. Get out."
But not only that, it really was a cart before horse, and she was surprised I just didn't know what she was talking about it, because English language and cases are not companions, should we say? But not only that, but it was the words, the vocabulary. I mean, she was. I mean, I know Knigi now, books, but at the time, what's this Kniga thing?
What is this Kniga?
Yeah, and so she was expecting me to get a feel for the ending based on the sentence. I just had no clue. But for the residency exam, as I say, I followed this system, which I didn't invent. It was actually invented by somebody who is involved in reviving the Welsh language.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's basically, you take this. There's a whole series. You take the sentence. You write your own sentences. This time I use Google Translate, which is terrible, I would add. But it gave me a sense of the sentences, and then I corrected them. Now I'm fortunate. I have Natasha to correct my corrections.
On standby.
Yeah, and then record the sentences, and then learn the sentences, and then break the sentences down to their component parts and make other sentences. And then the idea is that I end up with maybe a 5-minute conversation, and then I have another 5-minute conversation, and then I build up conversations. I'm not going to bore you with the details now, because it would take me ages to explain it. But basically, I'm building vocabulary and spoken grammar, for want of a better description.
Very nice. Very nice.
But I need to make myself accountable. Hence the Instagram.
Just call me Accountable.
Yes.
William Accountable. Yeah, it's when you said about putting the cart before the horse, I think that is exactly the right the metaphor to use. Because it's a classic example that kind of I'll call it what it is, mistake that the teacher made.
Yeah, but it's a very traditional mistake. She's not the first person to make it.
Sure. What should we say? Okay, misguided approach, shall we say, that your teacher made is a classic example of what often happens when you. So there are two ways of processing information, right? That our brain has. There's top up. Bottom up information processing and top down information processing. So if you are simply dealing with the bottom layer, which is pure unadulterated language, that's the bottom layer, that's pure language. And then from that, you extrapolate, okay, what's going on with these words? What rules have we got here? What endings are going on here? That is called bottom up information processing. But if you do the opposite, which is what you do as a language learner and what your students do when you explain rules to them, is you start with the top layer, you start with rules, you start with structures, and then from that you build and build and build, and eventually you get to the bottom, which is pure language. Now what your teacher did was to get the wrong end of the stick, so to speak. She gave you pure unadulterated language and said, okay, fix this problem for me, and I'm not going to tell you what the problem is or how to fix it. And you very often see that with either with teachers who are maybe taking too much of a traditional approach, as you say, kids as well. Kids, if you, so by the way, if you can impress a child with your Russian, that's when you know you've hit the jackpot and you are a true master, because kids will absolutely destroy you. They are the harshest critics of you learning a language that you could possibly imagine. If you very slightly mispronounce a word, they'll say, "Oh my God, your Russian's so terrible. You could have said everything else perfect." And it's like, I learned your language. Now you want me to not have an accent? Jesus Christ, I'm trying. So for example, I remember this mistake that I made once, where okay, let's see if you can get this. What does "Я тебе не верю"? What does that mean?
I have no idea.
So it means I don't believe you. So верю is believe. So "Я тебе не верю." I made the mistake of saying "Я тебя не верю." And this child started to correct me by saying "Не, тебе, тебе, тебе." So what she thought I had done was mispronounce the word тебе. But in reality, what I'd done is I had thought mistakenly that after верить, you need the accusative case, but that's not correct. After верить, you need the dative case. But a native Russian speaker would not be thinking about that. Unless, of course, they're a trained teacher, which is, so this is the thing that I think in order to correct someone's language effectively, or indeed to instruct the language effectively, you need to have a really sophisticated grasp of that dynamic of information processing, and to be able to identify, why is this person making this mistake? Is this a pronunciation mistake or a grammar mistake?